Recording. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Go ahead, Ed. You were sharing some interesting stuff. Go for it.
All right. Let me repeat it then, if you want it on the recording.
Sure.
That is, I want to let you know this morning, I posted information about what you're doing in this event and radish.org into a large spreadsheet, a Google spreadsheet that I can give you the link for in your chat before I finish. Because they are working on similar things. They're talking about a hive mind. You're talking about global collective intelligence. I told them about your approach in terms of having video records eventually with audio transcripts of the audio, and then using artificial intelligence to search it for data. Are you aware that Zoom is made an arrangements with an AI company to begin to do automatic transcripts?
Yes. Otter AI. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So the group at Foresight, which is foresight.org, that I've had a connection with, they started in nanotechnology. They started as a result of the book Engines of Change, written by Eric Drexler. And Eric and his wife, Mary, formed the Foresight Institute a good number of years back. And they have changed their emphasis since then. It's not limited to nanotechnology, but more broadly in terms of anticipating both the positive and negative impacts of things on society and try to obviously buy it toward what they consider to be positive. So they are collecting a large spreadsheet of information and resources it's a Google spreadsheet that, as I said, I will put the link into your chat function in a little bit. They, at the moment, are doing 1 hour plus session each day at 11 a.m. West Coast time, 2 o'clock my time on the East Coast, and have had more than 100 people each time. They had started several weeks beforehand, kind of building an agenda with sessions twice a day, once in the early part of the day, once in the later part for Europe and Asia. They have a phenomenal collection of people that they have access to in some ways. They've been doing face-to-face salons in San Francisco for many years. Jamin, I don't know where you're located. I didn't fill that in on the spreadsheet. I just said, West Coast time zone, but if you go and look at the spreadsheet, feel free to modify it. I indicated it was posted without permission, so you can change anything you need to change.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm here in the state of Washington, up on Whidbey Island, which is north of Seattle.
Okay. Well, I just labeled it as West Coast time zone, so they'd have some perspective from that viewpoint. I just hope that we can get some cross-pollination, because each of you are approaching things from different perspectives. I'm approaching it from a third one. I'm looking very much at creating a new organization, a blockchain-based LLC. We're in conversations now with attorneys in Vermont who wrote the legislation that authorized that type of legislation. We had one online meeting with them. We have a proposal from them now in terms of how to engage them. Our intent is to have this formed by the fall, and that means we need to get our first 50 people ready to commit real dollars to make it happen by then. At the moment, I think we're at 4, so we have a way to go before we get to 50. 10 a month for the next 5 months to get us probably around October, I think it is. So, and we're looking at energy, we're looking at sustainable energy and a system that can store solar and wind and other sustainable energy like geothermal in a liquid hydrocarbon. And that liquid hydrocarbon can essentially be a battery. It has a higher energy density than a lithium-ion battery. It's one of its main advantages is that it can take the hydrogen produced from electrolysis using solar and wind energy, put it into this liquid hydrocarbon, and then take the energy back out by a fuel cell. A number of big things come for that. Number one, it can use a lot of the existing infrastructure. For example, right now, if all of us went off and got our wonderful electric cars, Transmission system in the country couldn't stand it. The load wouldn't work. The cost to build a new transmission system, all the arguments over right-of-way and environmental impacts would be devastating and slow everything down. Because this is a liquid, it can go in the existing pipeline system. It can go in tanker trucks. It can go in the big tanks that store oil now. In this case, they can be storing, in essence, charged up DBT, which is the chemical, the particular hydrocarbon. It is a clear liquid fluid. It's not particularly volatile. It's not like gasoline, and it can be recycled and reused. So it's a closed carbon loop system. You don't burn anything, and this can be recycled a number of times. What we're working to do is get it out of the lab and into the world, to design it globally and let people all over the world make it as quickly as they can, as we work on designs and prototypes and ways in which this can be used in different use cases, whether it's at an electrical substation, whether it's in an automobile or an off-track vehicle, whether we're even talking right now, some discussion about small airplanes. Don't know if it has enough energy density for something larger, but we have one engineer who's a pilot and is real excited about the possibility of a small electric airplane. And he's been reaching out to an electric plane manufacturer that's making a 2-seat electric plane as a trainer plane. And there's a lot of possibilities also in terms of shipping, ships and boats. And we've identified a group called the Get to Zero Coalition of major shipping companies. This is not the FedEx type of shipping, but ships at sea. And they have estimated it's going to cost $1 trillion to convert their ships, to get to zero. I think what we have can dramatically reduce that cost. But there's an awful lot of work to get it out of the lab and build all these prototypes, do the engineering, do the rest of the testing, keep on making efficiency improvements, make alliances with other scientists across the country that have related technology. And people also who are working on the electrolysis end. We've been a little more focused on the fuel cell end. So that's the end of my commercial. Anything else you want to know? I'm easy to contact. My email address is ed@yarish.com. It's my name, @ sign in between the first name and the last name, and the .com at the end. How's that, Jamin?
Perfect, Ed. Hey, and really cool stuff. Hey, where are you located?
I'm in Allentown, Pennsylvania, 90 miles west of New York City, 60 miles north of Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah. No, I know Allentown. Yeah. Awesome. Wow. Super cool.
So how's your day been going?
It's been good. We've been talking mostly about Operation Stone Soup, feeding everyone in the world a whole food, plant-based diet by delivering the food directly to homes. We'd start in one city, give our big press conference, which would contain that message, the fact that that is the key to ending pandemics. Whenever a pandemic flares up, everybody go home, we'll deliver the food. For decades, the Chinese have been accused of copying, companies in the West, whatever. Well, we're copying China on this one, right? They figured it out. It's really simple. We're adding in the whole food plant-based diet, which is immune boosting. And so you basically eradicate hunger and malnutrition and eradicate pandemics in one fell swoop. The third big thing that needs to be done is we need to reverse planetary overheating, cool the planet through SRM. So that's also part of the same platform. And then the fourth pillar to the whole thing is collective superintelligence, right? Creating this hive mind, as Foresight would say, to get all of the above done. And I'd appreciate very much the links, if you want to put them in there, Ed, into the chat, that'd be awesome. And thank you so much for that. That is so cool. I mean, it sounds like Foresight is perhaps the closest thing to what we're doing.
They are, with a different audience and clientele, which I think is, a strength of putting the two together very much. I read most of what you sent out in your long email today. I still have about maybe 40% to finish through. I love some of your thought and your wording and the way you're working through this right now. I will add the thought that the globe has a fever, this Earth does, in the same way you get from the virus. And in terms of, we look at that as global warming, and that's where I consider part of what we're doing to really get at the climate issue. But we've got to get this across the globe, and that takes a lot of organizing and a lot of getting other large organizations to get the information that will let them run off and do it. So we're looking to create a system that they can have the rights very quickly and inexpensively for anything contained within the LLC. So it won't restrict things about licensing and all kinds of other stuff, and looking to get 10,000 people involved at $1,000 each. So that's going to be our challenge, to selectively get $10,000, 10,000 people. It's not the $1,000 as much as the knowledge and expertise and the spread across the globe that can pick up what we do as a group and then take it from there to implement it. So it's a challenge that we're going to meet one way, shape, or form or the other.
Beautiful. Awesome. Awesome. Wow.
I'm going to drop off and go get some dinner since I'm behind at this particular point in the day, having been in these video conferences. I'm sorry that I didn't get here earlier, but it's been a little bit hectic in the last couple of days.
No, that's quite all right. I'm just grateful that you're here, that you came, and that you've delivered such wonderful gifts. And please get a good dinner, and we'll be here if you want to pop back in. We'll be here for another couple hours.
I will put the link right now before I go off to dinner into the chat.
Awesome. Thank you, Ed. Yeah. And these Foresight meetings, are they just totally open? You just show up kind of thing?
They have a calendar out with their events. Like everybody right now, they have waiting rooms on Zoom. I'm not clear about that part because I just get a link and I join, and because I've been on their email list for a long time and have been to face-to-face conferences of theirs maybe 20 years ago. So that part I really can't speak to accurately.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. I'm originally from the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
I really look forward to meeting with them.
Let's see how I get you back here. There we go. If I'm doing this right, you will have it shortly.
All right. Thank you, Ed.
There's the Google Docs where I put the information.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
That's accessible.
Okay. And that's got everything, including...
that has a variety of stuff. The particular tab I put information, there are 3 tabs. I put it in the collaboration tab, which is what they're asking us to fill. The other tabs may be locked. I don't quite know how they have them set up.
Okay.
But you'll see probably the last entry, unless somebody else has added something, around about 118 or something, is where I put the information in. Put your name, your email address. I put a link. I think I put your calendar link in there for your event.
Okay. Awesome.
And then somebody just popped in foresight.org, Hive Mind.
Awesome. Wow. Super cool. Don't you just feel the singularity coming, right? It's like impossible to predict how it's going to come, but all this is coming together.
I am quite pleased and joyful at what I am experiencing, and I am working at it very much every day. I had a birthday party on Sunday, and I had 100 and some people by Zoom, and I gave 3 commercials at different points through the discussion. And I have been getting out information any way I can about some of these things to try to get friends, relatives, and everybody else who are not awake yet. I also tell you that I became a vegan a little over a year ago. It was a year in March. So I'm tuned into what you're saying there, but I live with a carnivore. And I've had to learn to cook because of that, because my carnivore said, I'm not going to cook that way.
Wow. Wow. Man.
All right. Take care. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Be
All
back
right.
with you soon. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Ed. Really appreciate
Bye-bye.
it. All right. Take care. See you soon. Fred. You're on mute still. We are recording. Here, let's take a pause from recording just to chill out for a minute. All right, after a little pause in recording, we're talking about, you know, see, here's the thing. Just imagine that over the course of the next 2, 4, 6, whatever period of months, humanity is able to lock onto a winning strategy for moving forward, right? Whether that's Operation Stone Soup or something completely different, right? But imagine that humanity as a whole, of all the different winning strategies out there, you can imagine them being kind of stack ranked in terms of popularity or a level of commitment or whatever set of metrics would make sense. But, there's going to be a number one spot, a number 2 spot, a number 3 spot. And probably multiple such strategies will be launched and cultivated and, shepherded along over time. It won't just be a winner takes all winning strategy. This is the winning strategy because, humanity doesn't work that way. We're, we form whatever groupings we want to form. And I think that's healthy. And so what we're really doing is we're launching, if you'll pardon the metaphor, we're launching a horse race. We're launching a horse into a horse race. And we don't know what other horses are going to show up. From my perspective, I'm excited that there will be a horse race. I want to see these other freaking horses, right? Size them up, maybe talk some trash, maybe get into a debate, and freaking get it on, right? Because it's one spaceship, right? And that we all inhabit. It's spaceship Earth. And so we need to have the conversation about what is the strategy, what should it be. And I'd like to have at least a few significant strategies at the table, right, for us to kick around. And for all we know, we need to put together hybrids of multiple of these, right? Whatever. But let's get the strategies to the table and let's have the conversation about strategy.
Is that pre-press conference or post-press?
For me, it's post because in a way, what the press conference is going to do, if we're the first ones to it, what the press conference will do is it will define not only a strategy for solution for solving our problems, but it will define a new category of strategy called the mega strategy, right? The all-encompassing strategy, the strategy that promises to frickin' do it all, right? Or do the important stuff and do it in time, right? So we're basically, imagine an ad in the New York Times that says world-class ninjas wanted, world-class only, right? We're looking for a very specific breed of strategy, right? The mega strategy, right? The Uber strategy. Because that's what we're launching here, especially with the 4 pillars, right? I'm not even sure it makes sense to break it down so much. Well, I think it does make sense to break it down into pillars, but even the number of pillars, you could add or subtract. But anyway, the fact that we've got it broken down into multiple pillars spanning food, right? Pandemics, disease, intelligence, planetary overheating. I mean, these are like the 4 food groups, for crying out loud, right? These are 4 major food groups of global transformation and survival. Food, right? Pandemics, heat, and the intelligence to, to navigate all 3 realms successfully. Food, pandemics, and heat. Sounds like the name of a bad porn film or something like that. Food, pandemics, and heat. Anyway, Emery says, here is a real bombshell, free pot. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Whereas with food, there's kind of a natural limit to how much you can eat. I don't know if you can say the same of pot. But anyway, that's thank you for that, Emery. Meanwhile, Natalie wrote in the chat, I think it just about belief. If you believe strong enough, people will follow. What the alternative to do nothing? You don't learn by doing things right. You learn from doing them wrong. We're going to have hiccups, but we have powerful voice here that can bore holes in most people's eardrums. Yeah, I love it, Natalie. I'm in total agreement. We get out there and we do it, right? And oh, don't worry about it, Natalie. Don't worry about punctuation. Anyway, but back to it. We've got this new breed of thing, this new category. It's called mega. I'm just calling it mega solution, right? Or Uber solution, right? It's this overarching. Or mega strategy, or Uber strategy is what I think what we're talking about. Because Operation Stone Soup equates to a mega strategy, right? Yeah, it kind of feels to me like this marketplace of ideas and marketplace of strategies, all the way up to marketplace of mega strategies, right? um, and I think we've reached the moment in history, we've reached the moment of the mega strategy. Will the best mega strategy please stand up? And a bunch of mega strategies are starting to stand up. I only know of one of them at the moment, the one we're working on, right? But actually, I know of another, which is the mega strategy of collective superintelligence itself, just period, regardless of what specifics you're training it on, right? Operation Stone Soup just takes that in a specific direction with a specific, 1, 2, 3, food pandemics and planetary overheating. Let's see, I don't know what MAGA is. Feel free to clarify. Oh, gotcha. Make America great again. This is about making the world whole again, making life whole again. But I mean, am I all alone in thinking about this era of the mega? I mean, this is the time for mega strategies to come forward and start talking with each other and possibly even mashing up. But I believe we need, and again, different mega strategies can be operating in parallel, right? It's still a pretty big world with a lot of people and people are generally figuring out what they want to do in groups or individually. So it's obvious lots of different mega strategies are going to be pursued. But what I'm really suggesting is the world, and when I say the world, I really mean the 1% most dialed in, most awake, is that 1% of the world ready for a planetary conversation about mega strategies, uber strategies, big strategies for solving our problems? I'd love to hear people's thoughts on that.
Yeah, Jim, I don't know. I get a feeling, I have a gut feeling that somehow there aren't enough that are ready.
Enough people.
Just my
enough
gut
people.
feeling. Yeah, of the 1%. I'm talking about the 1%, the 80 million.
Yeah.
You know? I don't feel like there's a drive to be connected, I don't feel it. Like even on social media, I would expect that people would have more of an interest to tag up with people, that are on the same wavelength, and at least spend the time to try to meet people like that, But it's all like just passed by. And just do my own thing, you know, not take the time to really, you know, come by and just have, share your, you know, with, you know, just get together. I mean, this is fine, you know, we're getting together on Zoom and we have the meeting, you know, planned out and it's advertised and people who can make it, they make it. But, you know, I also sense that, you know, I don't see the faces, you know, consistently enough. I see people, they get involved and then they lose the strength. The strength is gets weaker, you know. They're not taking the time. I don't know whether it's because they're motivated to do other things and just start doing things that get the project moved forward in their own way. But I wish they would be more involved, like on a personal level, you know, just reach out more to people, you know, so that people aren't felt that they're, you know, still on their own in this, you know, in this internet world where we are able to connect quite easily with people if we choose to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think part of the reason that this press conference is so important is that people need to feel like they're being invited to something really good and really cool and really effective with tremendous promise. They want to be a part of you know, a winning team, a winning strategy that's doing great things and is succeeding and that, you know, go. Let's face it, up until now, we've sort of been, to some degree, like an AA meeting for solutionaries, for planetary solutionaries. Where there has not been anywhere near the number and success of solutions as there are problems, right? We're getting overwhelmed. We're beaten down, right? The solutionaries are getting beaten, are losing. Let's face it, we're in a losing football game right now. And we are, we have tremendous urgency to turn it around. But what I'm saying is, you know, who the hell wants to be on the losing side of a losing football game? And the press conference, I think, can actually turn that around insofar as it will present to the world a winning football team that's out there doing, you know, borderline heroic stuff, right? That people can feel really good about. And they can feel really good about joining. And they can feel safe joining and this and that. I think that has the potential to form a planetary movement that can gain incredible momentum. And that will then push it into the realm of, you know, a credible mega solution that has a critical mass of support behind it and is growing, right? It's kind of like the early days of the internet of mega solutions. You know, there were all these tiny little companies starting out who, each of whom had a really big plan. I kind of think about these kids that do those shapes with their hands, you know, in the shadow and the bedroom light, and it creates this big monster on the wall, right? That's how the early internet startups were like. They were tiny. Maybe they had a little bit of funding and they had really big plans, right? And some of them made it into, you know, giant transnational corporations, Facebook, Google, etc. Others became viable mid-sized companies, whatever. but we're kind of at that stage now in the Internet of Mega Solutions. Here we are, this kind of scrappy startup, but with really big plans. Really great potential. And maybe we square off against some other startups, right, that have, for lack of a better word, competing mega solutions. Because, you know, feeding everyone and planetary scale SRM and ending pandemics, these are 3 planetary scale things. And collective superintelligence, another 4 planetary scale things just to get us rolling, right?
If you'd have to prioritize, would you not say SRM is in first place?
Well, in absolute terms, I would have to say yes. And my follow-up thought on that is, but in order to get to a place where we can do SRM, we need to mature as a species in terms of our collective intelligence and in terms of our ability to work together. And in terms of there being a context of peace and abundance and security on the planet within which to launch planetary scale SRM, right? And Operation Stone Soup gives you all of those things, right? Whereas if we were to just try to make an end run straight to SRM by itself, without simultaneously and holistically addressing some of these other vital pillars, I really question whether we can accomplish it, or whether it would be a fool's errand to try, doomed to fail, because we didn't address the other things, right?
Maybe we could make it stoned cold soup.
Stone gazpacho or something like that.
It has to be cold because
Yeah, gazpacho, a cold soup.
we gotta cool the planet. Well, stones are typically cold, so
Unless you get a hot stone massage.
yeah, unless it's a desert, I guess. Well, strangely enough, here in Montreal, you know, sitting by a window or whatever, the sun is so blazing, but it's not just the sun. It feels like it's the rays, like the way that it's like the waves, the energy waves are so intense, you know. It just heats you right up. Something coming. Yeah, I think that. You gotta get that app where that app is ready to go, I guess. K Mama
Oh yeah.
already.
It's under development, and it sounds like it's getting pretty close. Um, but you know what I haven't really gotten into the details of that, other than to talk about certain requirements. You know, namely the ability to donate precisely to the high volume, right, solution.
That's going to be quite a key element in the process of how this is going to operate. You know, on a street level. You know, you're going to want that app to be fully functional and available. Demonstratable. Demonstrate.
Natalie says the text donation has to be a must. Yeah, that you can donate via text. Yeah. Very good. Very good, Natalie.
I guess you know, there's also room to add different features. You know, maybe connecting certain other apps. You know, other apps that exist right now that can function in correlation with the one that's under development, the K-Mama, and that app that would connect with it could serve as maybe the delivery part of it, or some other important function which would help with getting the job done, because there are different facets to this project. You know, donations, the collection of, and transportation to a large extent, and different parts of the transportation. You know, end of the line. You know, final delivery, and all the in-betweens there too, from one location to another. So I need another app, another different kinds of connections there. Make sure all the street lights work in unison.
Yeah, totally, Emery.
You know, and there were things said today at the meeting which made a lot of sense to me, regarding how we still function in our society, right? I mean, the way things are now, our reality is that we're still required to meet certain cost of living expenses, such as hydro and important things that keep the ball rolling and providing for the family and for just how things get done, right? So that darn money is the Achilles heel of reality right now. And the fact that the government is allocating so much money to people, that should be a clue of how things should possibly move ahead, make sure people have enough chips to play the game.
Totally. And that's if we still want it to be a game that's driven by chips, right? And the best games in life are games where there are no chips involved. And so for example, we could do, it's conceivable that we do the whole food economy, right? The whole new food network based entirely on donations of food, donations of time. It could be totally money free. Right down to the farmer essentially donating the use of her land, and volunteers coming to that farm donating their time, and then the food that's produced being donated in turn to the program. It's conceivable. How to actually achieve that in practical terms, I would leave for the collective superintelligence to figure out. But I'm really not attached to whether we do it within a money system or outside of a money system. And it could, of course, be with some cryptocurrency or combination thereof, right? All these scenarios are possible.
What's the biggest crop that farmers have nowadays? I guess it's some kind of a grain, right? But let's say compared to a tomato or a potato, right? Like what's the largest crop, most successfully produced?
I would say the big grains, in terms of by dollar volume, I presume you're talking about. I would say the big grains probably lead the pack, followed by some of the big cash crops like cotton, tobacco, and coffee and sugar. And then, the big categories of produce, you've named a couple, potatoes and tomatoes. And then, pretty much your usual suspects from there. Onions are big, other root vegetables like carrots, etc. The leaves. Anyway, these are all giant categories, but in terms of what's their biggest problem? The biggest problem of all these is planetary overheating, right? We may have major crop failures later this year at the rate we're going.
What if there's going to be distribution and free distribution of plant-based uh, food? You know, we could start with some of the basics, right? Doesn't have to be all. It can be. It can be very basic: potatoes, tomatoes, onions, whatever. Doesn't have to be the full spectrum. Is what I'm trying to say. Is that it can be a start with this. This is what we have. It's abundant. I'm going to start with this. This will give you the idea, and as it moves ahead, you can add to it. You know, you can add more to it. But we're going to start with this. You know, get a little exercise. You know, see how it's done.
Yeah, totally. There's so many different ways to, you know, structure it, to begin it, to build it out, to expand it.
Like you say, it doesn't have to be perfect, you know, but if you're first, you know.
Yeah, totally. Well, what I'm thinking is, you know, for starters, and welcome back, Maida. Welcome back, sister. What I'm thinking is, for starters, we start with one city, and we do, frankly, an amazing job with that one city, right? Like, we actually prepare the meals and all that and make them awesome, right? You know, a lot of the produce would just go as just a cold pack, boom, you know, and prepare it however you want at home. But like some, you know, the entrees and whatnot could be fully prepared. You know, they just need heating or whatever, or deliver them hot. I don't know. All that needs to be worked out. There's so many details that need to be worked out. It's just incredible. But what I'm suggesting is that we start it off with a bang. So whatever city we do first, we do it so crazy well with delicious, nutritious food, right? No messing around. So that becomes what blasts into it, that becomes what imprints on people's minds, is not what's practical to start with, but what's possible. So they're like, whoa, this is so cool, right? That needs to be the response. Going on mute. I mean, that's just my thought as to what could be the most effective way to really launch this. Because we have to keep our mind on the big opportunity here, which is to put together the right mega strategy that people can believe in, that will give people hope.
Maybe the name of the city could be representative of the vision, you know, like there's some names that could be quite interesting, perhaps. Have you thought of that at all?
It sounds like an interesting possibility. Yeah, let's see what names come to mind, what city names come to mind.
Like some, you know, some city of asparagus, or yeah, I don't know, like just different names, which could hit a nerve with people. like there's a city known like the Big Apple or the Big like Orange City. Like a lot of these cities, they have their, a certain word that they use to describe their city. They have their strategic flower, their bird, different things. Could be interesting. Could be interesting to try to incorporate that anyway into the initial strategy of launching it.
And this is why we need the collective intelligence, so we can bring together all these great ideas and mash them up. Natalie writes, so in Ireland we have these bike messenger guys for the fast food places. If you guys had something like that, they would be able to have multiple bikers at different food outlets at once, and they in turn would be able to hit many street across city and towns with hot or cold meals, and perhaps there may be a charge or $50 for the bike guy himself. Would that be it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the idea of using bicycles. One idea is to drive a truck from the restaurant to the neighborhood in question, which might be a couple of miles away, right? Truck pulls up, opens the back of the truck, and there's, a half a dozen bicycle delivery folks right there waiting. And they go boom, 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 drop, whole boxes or whatever into the back of the, like a bicycle trailer like they have in Holland, right? Where you can schlep around a good amount of stuff on the bicycle. And then they go and hit several houses, come back for more, go do a few more houses or apartments and so on. Why not?
Yeah, I could see some of those Harley Davidson bikers getting involved, They're always in for I'm just saying, a 750 Harley showing up with a delivery, that would be awesome. Get those bikers going. Bikers with a cause.
Well, I'm more into the bicycles myself, but anyway.
Get around faster.
Oh, Natalie says it could work with skater and rollerblades too. They just need a cart to stack and push. But any means that's fast and safe. Yep, I totally agree. Beautiful. Yeah, like a cart that they could push with handbrakes that they can squeeze, right? If they're on skates. Something like that, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure we could come up with really cool, creative solutions. That's what we're doing right here. There's so many custom models for bikes and three-wheel carts, like the ones for golfing. Very easy to rustle some up with a welder. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, we can come up with optimized configurations. I like it. Why not? Yeah, but the bottom line is this is not going to be hard. Even just someone walking and pushing a cart. I mean, like imagine the truck pulls up at the entrance to a neighborhood where there's like, I don't know, 30 houses, right? It doesn't take that long to walk from house to house. So the easiest solution could simply be a push cart. You're pushing, you go up to a bunch of houses, drop, and then you come back. And, you know, because this could be a big plastic tote for food for a whole week, or it could be a delivery for half a week or something like that. We've talked about something in that ballpark of frequency of deliveries would probably make sense.
Well, you could have all the, you know, from A to Z. You have the bi-weekly, the monthly, the, you know, it could be daily. It doesn't exclude any one particular mode of delivery, you know. Could be
Yeah.
every kind.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. Yeah. Yeah, because different people have different needs, different dietary needs, different, you know, maybe they're getting certain foods from some vegetable patch in a shared backyard area, and therefore they don't need that, but they do need these other food items, for example, right? So we could totally dial it in that way. There's no reason not to make it customizable like that. I think there's a term for it: mass customization.
You know, here in Montreal, we've got, you know, well, I'm aware of one startup that's recently come online, and they're just like distributor, like they're acting as a distributor for farmers, and they'll go around, you know, putting together orders for people and delivering it. You know, deliveries included. You place your order. Of course, it's you pay for. They've got prices on their items, so it's like you're paying so much per pound for anything on your order, right? But they get it from the farmer and it's delivered to your home. So it's a little more expensive than ordering it from food from an outlet, right? A store that you would regularly go pick up your groceries, but it's very specialized in the sense that this distributor gets it directly from the farms and then from the growers, and the orders put together, and you know, you normally get your order in a matter of a day or two. But you know, you pay for it because they got their expenses.
Yeah, I love that model. I think it makes really great sense. And so what we're talking about is essentially doing like that, but en masse, where we're, you know, delivering, you know, the default is all your nutritional needs delivered to you. That's the default, right?
Could be a two-tiered system, you know. It could be people who are able to pay, you know, willing to pay, like you say. You buy one, gift one, right? So it kind of works like some people are going to end up paying because you know, they got big hearts and they got deep pockets and they want to do something good, right? So, you know, that'll be a good thing. That'll be a great thing for people to get involved that way. They'll get their food and at the same time provide for other people and meet the expenses of our reality. You know, we're still in a world where we got to meet with certain expenses. So you got to keep the thing going for now.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, and also like, how do we make it a game where people who donate generously can, you know, for lack of better words, get something for their donation, right? Like, it just occurred to me that we could work with Sato Hemp to get a really nice embroidered shirt for that would say, you know, the 100, you know, the 100 Club or something like that. This would be for people who donate for 100 people to eat for a whole year. So it could say, you know, the 100 Club, you know, 2020, the 100 Club 2021 for each year that you participate in the 100 Club. You get one of these really beautiful embroidered hemp t-shirts or hemp shirts or long sleeve or whatever, right? Anyway, something that where they you know, they give and they get, right? Even if it's just recognition, right? But something that acknowledges their generosity and hopefully does so in a way that helps further the overall program, meaning making it, you know, more compelling to go ahead and donate, right?
Just send them a pillow.
Whatever, something.
Pillow, a pillow or a blanket.
Mm.
Hopefully people won't just go back to sleep. Yeah. You were on mute, Jamin.
Oh, did I?
You
Natalie,
were on mute.
okay, did I just mute or did Natalie? Because I was thanking Natalie and saying thank you, Natalie. I'm so sorry. Thanks for telling me, Emery. But thank you so much, Natalie. Great to see you. Oh, you lip read. Okay, got it. Anyway, thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you on Friday. And thanks for all your great ideas and contributions. Thank you. Thank you. All righty. And have a great sleep. And thanks for hanging in there so late into the evening. And thanks again, Emery, for the heads up.
Chairman,
Yo.
I don't miss a thing.
You don't miss a thing. That's awesome. No, yeah, that's right. You are you do notice stuff.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah, yeah. Got the crows here. Hello, Dickwad. Clack, clack, clack.
Well, that's what's really good about, this platform and the way we have things structured is that, anyone could come and, and feel free to just be, just feel free, to participate as they can. And, if you need to lay down for 5-10 minutes, well, you just you're free to do that. Nobody's gonna hold your feet to the fire and it's easy going. I like that that it's easy going. Easy to participate if you can, when you can, how you can, and it's always appreciated.
Nolan. Hey, good morning. How you doing?
It's 6:30.
I know. I'm just joking because we haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I've been listening here and there and mostly looking around, investigating the Foresight Institute and some people that are involved with it, and trying not to lose myself down all the rabbit holes. Over the next 3 weeks, yeah, they just started. There's a call. The Foresight Institute has calls scheduled at 11 a.m. every day, and each of them they have like a question to cue it off. And week 1 this week is cultivating a humane long-term culture. Week 2 is advancing high-impact science and technology. Week 3 is strengthen resilient and cooperative global systems. And so the link that I just sent in the chat shows all of those with the questions and then they have like some people that have committed to being there. So they have their names, and they also have collaborative Google Docs for each of those meetings. So that's a good place to, at the very least, check back later and see what that's been populated with. But I think it would be in our best interest to connect with these people and see what they're about.
Absolutely. Heck yeah. And share with them what we're about. And, you know, at a minimum, cross-pollinate. And, but probably more broadly, I think this could be, you know, just by bringing together the different communities that we're already plugged into, have real, you know, start conversations about federation, right? Or something like federation to get us all, you know, cross-linked in moving towards some kind of a general directory that is very inclusive by nature, that will in turn help kind of create a black hole that'll suck everybody in, right? In terms of just making us all visible to each other. And very importantly, self-identifying as a network, right? Of a collective intelligence of transformational conversations, solutionaries and solutions, etc. You know, I'm groping for the words because this is really a new thing, and how do you properly frame it? But that's the least of my concerns. What I'm really focused on is the big idea of us coming together and, you know, forming very intentionally a planetary collective intelligence, which with the right stuff, including but not limited to platform, culture, rules, etc., appropriate decentralization, blockchainization, whateverization, all that right stuff, it can go super intelligent for Nick Bostrom with the right ingredients in the cauldron, right? So let's get the federation together, for lack of a better word, and figure this whole cauldron out. For one, that's just the collective intelligence part. And then there's the larger, you know, mega strategy part. And we got to figure that out too. We got a whole bunch of stuff to figure out, but those are kind of the two biggies, right? How do we go super intelligent? And regardless of what level of evolution our intelligence is, we need to be on top of the question, what's the strategy for saving our collective butts? What's the plan? What's the strategy? We've got one, OSS, Operation Stone Soup, which includes collective superintelligence and creates a pathway for it, an evolutionary pathway for it, fueled by the whole of OSS, which starts off focused on food. But anyway, I digress. Federation, come together, and we need to work out CSI, and we need to work out mega strategy, of which CSI will play undoubtedly the key, you know, key roles, multiple, right? But we still need a strategy.
Can you think of anything? Can you think of anything that goes with soup? That'll go with soup.
Any what that'll go with soup?
Like what normally does one put with soup?
Soup and bread, soup and crackers, soup and salad, soup and sandwich, soup, salad, and sandwich.
Soup and sandwich, eh?
Well, I'm gonna drop off.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, Nolan, for
You know,
good stuff and checking out Foresight and all that. Really good. Look forward to checking them out. Maybe as soon as tomorrow. I'll see. And let's get it on.
Hi, Jamin. I'm going to take off also. I'm going to go do my meditation. I hope to see you guys all on Friday.
All right. Look forward to it. Thank you, Myra. Have a good
Yeah,
night.
have a blessed night, everybody.
You
See
too. Thank you, Myra. See you soon.
I get real quick before I drop off.
Yeah.
I wanted to put it out there that if you, because you're more the business marketing people person, more of that kind of person than I am. If you want to, with
Okay.
so coming up on the home stretch here, Jamin.
Yeah, 20 minutes to go till 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern.
You heard much from Brett these days?
We saw Brett. Oh, yeah. Brett emailed us, and that he's looking forward to getting back on meetings. He's been very busy, and kind of got a little bit overwhelmed there with so many meetings, but he's looking forward to being back.
Yeah, because he was doing his preposterous Sundays. So, and he's he was trying out the Wakelet thing for a while there. So we're working a few of those things out. He had some participation
Mm-hmm.
in that. So that could be something that can be looked at the next block party, I guess, and see how that could be incorporated a little bit more. Like people who participate, they could consider checking those things out and connecting with each other that way. I personally have tried, but I guess during the week the only kind of communication we would have is how we are already connected on social platform via Facebook or certain meetings that we attend at the same time. Anything beyond that, so I guess a little bit more sparsed out as people have so much things to do. They're involved in so many ongoing projects, I would imagine. So. But you know, it all indicates to me like the best time to interact is at the party. You know, you're at the party or at a meeting. For some reason, you know, doing things on Facebook and YouTube and, you know, seems to be too much work, or people aren't spending the time.
Interesting. Yeah. But I mean, it's for me. These meetings are just by far the most efficient way of connecting and sharing ideas, mashing up ideas, perfecting them, polishing them, because it's all just immediate, and it's through the mode of conversing, which is how we evolved to communicate.
But you know, you shouldn't forget the fact that, you know, because most of us, you know, we are on different kind of schedules, right?
Yeah.
You know, our time isn't in synchronicity all the time, right? And when you are talking about Facebook and you know, other forms of connectivity, right? You kind of have to make you have to make accommodation. And you know, it's not to say that the connection isn't strong, you know, because the connection could be quite strong, but it'll be delayed. It'll be delayed, you know, as people come by, they're gonna see something that you've left a message or you've left an intention, you know, and you know, this immediate results thing, it's a bit overdone. You know, like we're not living in the synchronistic exact moments. You know, I'm over here in Montreal, 3 hours behind ahead of you. You know, like it's not the same schedule. So, you know, I think it's good to try to keep those avenues of connectivity open and working, you know, because if you let them just slide, I've kind of seen I've seen like a slippage. There's a slippage of connectivity. People aren't, you know, they're giving up, you know, or something.
Is that how it feels to you on Facebook?
Yeah.
In other words, they used to be more engaged, and now they're kind of giving up.
Yeah, like when we first opened the page, a lot of people were engaged, right?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, there are posts on average done. You know, Jackie puts up posts, Demindra, and you know, few people do leave posts. James too. Miles comes by, but you know, I could see more of that, more engagement. I mean, why not? I mean, it's a visually very good platform for, you know, getting an idea or just a connection over certain thing. You know, I don't know. You can leave a comment. You could. It's more engaging, you know, and it's free. Like, you don't have to be right there at the moment, but at least it's there. Like, I could go by your page, leave you something, but if you never go there, you know, I'm going to give up, right? Or people are going to give up.
Yeah. Right. You know, in my case, and I've heard this from some other folks. Well, in my case, I'll just speak for myself. beyond these long format video conferences, which are really meaningful to me, I feel like I have like a repulsion of spending time on the computer. It almost feels painful to get on there. And
I understand that perfectly. I've had experiences like that with people, you know, who that's their focus, that's their job. You know, they're always on a certain task, certain function, and then in general, you want to go back to that, revisit those kinds of activities, and it's unbearable. I get you. I understand.
But I think part of it for me is it's like I'm groping for how to say this, but it's like I'm just like really uncomfortable with reality right now, you know, and it almost feels to me like to be on Facebook, I'd have to be kind of like, oh, la, 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 oh, let me see what message. But I'm just so freaking uncomfortable with reality right now. I am like the opposite of tra la 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 la. I'm like, wait a second. We might be in the process of extinguishing life on Earth. And so I'm kind of constantly grappling, right? This is just sort of my, I see it as both a gift and also just to some degree a curse. But I'm just constantly searching for what is it that's missing from getting us together and doing this as quickly as possible while we still have time, while we still have opportunity to do something, right? And this that makes perfect sense to me is Operation Stone Soup. Now, granted, that's only been on the table for 10 days now. But, you know, ever since, it's been very hard for me to really think about much else than how do we get this thing going.
Yeah. Well, it definitely requires a lot of energy, a lot of physical strength, you know, to be able to always produce and to just be in all the time. I get that. It's tiring. It can be tiring, but you know, gotta space yourself out a little bit. You obviously don't want to burn out for sure, right? So you like I see, you see, I see a lot of people that are there all the time. I get different types of people. I come into contact with a lot of different types of people. They're constantly posting, constantly engaging, constantly doing things, you know, with the platform and associating with their connections, keeping it vibrant, right? Like Brett, I sense Brett is trying to do that quite a bit, and Miles too. Like he reaches out quite a bit, and Denise also. Like, and from time to time, Melissa does a lot, fairly quite a bit too. I noticed lately, and but it also depends on what Facebook allows to pass through the algorithms. You know, sometimes certain things could be what's the word? You know, throttled back, and you don't exactly see things in real time. So, or you might see something much later than you should, right? So it varies. But I think the secret though is the more you engage, the more you're gonna get on your stream. You know, if you let it fade away, it's gonna be pretty pathetic. So use it or lose it. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was just kind of sharing where I'm just at with reality right now, and anyway, that's just where I'm at.
Well, I'm just making an observation, right, Jim? And I'm not telling you how to run your thing.
No, I get it. I totally get your observation. I thank you for it. You're spot on. I totally get it. And then I was similarly just sharing with you without any judgment or anything like that, just where I'm at and where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Well, so I guess we'll leave it for Friday.
All righty. Very good. Very good, Emery. Well, thank you so much for hanging in there all these hours.
Yeah.
And days and months.
Well, we're definitely not on the Titanic over here. So we see things coming.
Not on the Titanic.
I said we're not on the Titanic on this ship here that we're on.
Wow. All righty. Well, very good.
Okay then.
All right, Emery. Great to see you, bro.
Yeah. I'm here. Much love.
All right. Thanks, man. You too. Take care.
Bye.
See ya. All righty. And with that, let's call it a night. Thank you all for participating. And thank you for those of you who watched the recording of the Solution Club at the beginning of the new world. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody. Take care.